please don't buy this product. I mean, if you really want to, go for it. But I hate when I find something that fits in this exact issue that I have, and I want to talk about it because it helps me tremendously and it fixes a problem I have. But I don't want to sound like a infomercial, and it doesn't make financial sense. So I love printing images, my images especially. It's the last time you get to see an image in a brand new light. The first time is when the photo is right in front of you, and it's real and amazing, and it's going to be gone if you don't act quickly. Then it's on your screen. The second time you see it, it's from getting scans back from film, or the first time you load it into your editing software. And wow, you caught it. It's actually sharp, it's a good image, the framing looks right. Now it's just waiting for those perfect little color adjustments and you're there. Then for a lot of people, you put it up on social media. And there, it's smaller than it was on the back of your camera, more compressed, and that's it. It's done. Even for somebody like me, who I really do try and print as many photos as I can, 99% of the photos I like end here. So to try and increase that printing percentage, you do what any sane person would do and get printing. You buy a really nice printer, and yeah, it's expensive, but it's gonna save you money in the long run because per print, it's way cheaper, right? But wait, in print, this color looks nothing like it does on the screen. Now, all of a sudden, you're tweaking, you're printing 4 or 5 images before you get the actual color you want. And now that you got the color you want, you've printed it so many times that, boom, you're out of ink. And once you see the price of the replacement ink, you realize maybe this isn't gonna save me any money at all. Okay, that is a very specific problem, but if it has happened to you, then I have a very good solution. And now I am really starting to sound like an infomercial. But back when I was teaching photography, I got one of these little portable printers because honestly, I saw a TikTok of a car photographer and he was using these to print out photos from the back of his car to hand to people right away, right after he takes them. And I thought it was so cool. So I used some of the budget for my classes to buy one and give the kids the experience of seeing their photos in a new light again, and actually being able to hold a physical copy and not seeing it on a device. And it was in their hands and real, you know. The reaction that they had, and honestly the reaction I had to seeing these images again so quickly but physically, really did sell me on this little stupid printer. The price per print that this thing gives you is still not very good, especially for the size. You're locked into 4x6. The way it prints is pretty clever because the ink cartridge prints the same amount of photos as one of the packets of photo paper that it comes with. So once one runs out, the other one's already out. And the colors are pretty accurate because it's always the same ink and it's always the same paper. So it's pretty consistent. It seems like the whole point of the device is to eliminate steps between a digital file and a print that is good enough. And that good enough is very important because it gets you to actually print your images. And seeing them for that final time or that 4th time really does give you another perspective, and it helps you become a better photographer. Truly a lovely sentiment from Jericho from yesterday. Thank you so much. Let's talk about some issues I've ran into since filming that talking head. So smartphone connectivity is, I still think, the easiest way to use this printer. However, transferring one photo over to print takes a bit of time. Now, when you do a batch of them, that transfer process only really happens once. I will say the worst thing I noticed about this printer is also one of my favorite things about the printer. This is the ink for the printer. It comes in a cassette. I mean, it's your classic cyan, magenta, and yellow. So as you'll notice, each print goes through the printer 3 times. One for cyan, one for magenta, and one for yellow. It also goes back through and applies a top layer coat. either a glossy, semi-gloss, or satin finish. Now, the reason I really like these is that it's an exact number of prints. You're never guessing if you have enough ink or not, and the consistency is really good. However, if you live with a cat or with any amount of dust, and I for sure do, some of that cat hair or dust will get into the cassette somehow if you're not keeping it perfectly clean. I'm actually thinking about a cover design for my printer to keep it relatively dust-free. You'll notice in a couple of the close-ups of the photos, there is a little bit of dust that landed on the cassette of ink and blocked out that color for that print, which leaves a pretty bright mark showing the other two colors a lot brighter. It kind of looks like some old dust scratches on film, and you know I'm a sucker for that. But overall, the quality is honestly, I'm super happy with it. The real important thing about this is just taking away those blockades between you and actually doing something, actually printing a project or proofing some photos in your hand. And I think that this printer still really does a good job at that. Back to the previous sentiment, if you print your work, it will help you become a better photographer. And you know what else makes you a better photographer? Liking and subscribing to this YouTube channel. That's right, I'm gonna be bringing you all the hot tips and tricks and all the extreme blah, 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 blah.